Hey yo, it's time for the playoffs, we the top of the West. We got the home field advantage, time to play at our best. I'm out at Carson, California, kill a piece on the set. Like Jovelich, the pistolero, put a hole in the net. Yo got bonito when I dribble like I'm Gabriel Peck. Call me Yamane, got defenders out here breaking their neck. And put a curler past the keeper like I'm Pooch on the left. I'm bringing the skill like paint seal, counter attack. I'll put your sheet on next to Garces to defend in the back. And we said, que golazo, give them props on the track. I got a vision like I'm RUIZ when he's giving a pass. Marky Delgado is my boy, helping out where he can. Put up a typo at the park, show the love that we have. Diego Fagundes on the left when we get to the half. Let's make some changes, let Gaston create a play and retract. When in the game we have possession, but we shouldn't relax. Mauricio Cuevas now and never, time to bring up the stats. We gotta show them what we're made of, take a look at the past. The champion's back, the race to save the price that we have. We ain't stopping till we have another cup in our hand. What? Let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah. Vamos Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah. Vamos Galaxy, la cuna galaxiana, es la voz de LA.
Hello, hola, and buenas to all you out there, LA Galaxy fans. Man, I know you are through the roof. LA Galaxy, time in the playoffs. Welcome back to La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for everyone out there. LA Galaxy fans, man, like I said, you must be up. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can find my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. Today, like I've said, we're going to be reacting to the LA Galaxy's 4-1 series clinching away win on Friday, November 1st over the Colorado Rapids. A victory that saw them sweep their first round opponents, sweep them up and their season, and put down another statement win that puts MLS on notice. We'll bring you our reactions to the match, what we learned about LA in round one, and look at the playoff picture and what's to come for the Galaxy in round two. But before we go any further, let me introduce the ride or die G and homie, the co-hostess with the mostest, Anandita Kirana. ¿Cómo te sientes, papá?
Me siento muy contento, me siento muy feliz, right? Let's just, I mean, let's just start that right off the bat. But no, man, I mean, what a great time to be a Galaxy fan right now. Like you said at the top of the show, we're flying high right now, and all of us fans, we are geeked about this team. We're gassed about this team. But I mean, what an amazing game, right? I mean, if I had to sum it up in one word, Roberto, espectacular, papa. Espectacular. That's my one-word reaction. My first one in Spanish. I
like. Yeah, no, that's the first one ever in Spanish on this show.
Espectacular, papá. Todo, con todas las jugadas, cómo se siente durante el partido, todo, cómo se maneja todo el partido emocionalmente, no, like everything mentally, su mentalidad. I mean, it was beautiful. It was like poetry in motion. And I mean, we'll go to the X's and O's. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but spectacular game, spectacular performance by a spectacular team, right?
Espectacular, fuiste la tuya. La mía, no, honestamente no lo había pensado. I hadn't thought about it, to be honest. You caught me slipping. But so I'm just gonna say housekeeping, because that was a sweep. that was clean up, baby.
That was clean up. I'll go into housekeeping. We got a lot of announcements, but yeah, no. And yeah,
that's housekeeping for me, bro. Yeah, no, it's a clean sweep. They had to do. They had to take care of business, and they did it. And as we'll get to later in the show, a bunch of teams out there did not. Couldn't be Galaxy fans. Couldn't be Galaxy fans for sure. But yeah, we'll get into all that. You know, we already have chat sounding off. Thank you once again for doing what y'all do. You guys are beautiful. Crespo says sweep. G Cam says gorgeous. Flipman84 says, what up, my G? Flipman, what up, man? I mean, if this is your first time with us, you know, thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. If it's not, thank you once again for stopping by. We appreciate everybody that's out there for damn sure. Anthony Martinez says Jovelich and Galaxiana YouTube collab. I mean, I'm super down. Earlier, I caught a little bit of his gaming action. He was playing chess. Then I believe he was playing Call of Duty, but I'm not sure. I only popped in for a couple seconds on that one. But yes, we would be down. Dayon, Decky, you know where to find us. I see you at practice. Just let me know when you want to come on, and we'll make it possible, man. So anyway, Anandita, now it's tiempo para housekeeping.
Yeah, and guys, keep putting your one-word match reactions in chat. We will go ahead and shout them out. Already had a couple really good ones, and I would say what's up to everyone in chat, but man, you guys are sounding off already. A lot of the regulars and you guys, of course, we appreciate you guys stopping by as per the usual. But yeah, housekeeping per the usual. So you guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. Our tags are right there for all you on YouTube watching this live and direct. And of course, you can find us
hope someone does stock you up, man. Like I'm just waiting for the day, bro. Like,
I mean,
anyway,
I had one Primo Matt, and then that he led the charge there. So
man, I wish you would stalk me. Anyway, I'll let you carry on.
And of course, you guys can always follow us on all of our socials at Lacuna Galaxiana. Pretty simple tag there. And like Rob said, if this is your first time or if you're coming back to the chat, welcome as always. Bienvenidos. And we're just happy to be with you guys again. No sad foos hour, no Matt therapy session. This is like celebratory mood, right? This is us getting geeked and gassed about this team. So just a good time to talk about this team, I'm telling you.
It's a celebration.
Yeah, just like thank you guys again for coming back. And of course, one of the best ways you're gonna support the show, if you want to support this show, is to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, guys. That is, like I said, one of the best ways to support the show. The other way is, of course, we have our horchata funds. Of course, today though, Rob, it's getting a little cold out there, getting a little nippy. So I got my tea for today. I got my little chai tea. By the way, shout out to of course the folks that gave this to us, Edwin and Astrid. By the way, the newly engaged Edwin and Astrid. Right?
Yes, so congratulations to them.
Shout out to those guys. And so yeah, I got that today. But of course, guys, you can.
What you sipping on? What did you say? Some chai tea?
It was like a chai tea. Yeah, it's like a little Trader Joe's chai tea mix. So it's just some little cinnamony because horchata, like cinnamon. I wasn't in the mood for that, but just getting a little nippy out there. So went for the hot one. But yeah, so again on the screen is where you can support the show, guys. Buymeacoffee.com // Lacuna Galaxiana. Of course, you can buy us those horchatas. And I believe Gary said the average price of horchata is like $4.49 or something like that. It's getting up there, man. It's getting up there. That inflation, dog, kills you. But
but that's strawberry horchata is
that's fire.
So good when it hits your lips. It's
right.
So good when it hits your lips.
Pero Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Lacuna Galaxiana. Let's just kind of jump in the announcements, man. Unless you, but real quick, do you have your one word yet? Or you just said sweep. You said sweep,
I said housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
You know.
Well, let's.
But we have some stuff to get into. GCam mango horchata is fire. I can confirm. It is fire. You know what? Instead of talking Galaxy today, I'm just going to talk about the benefits of mango horchata. Do you guys have about an hour? Because we'll hit it. And anyway, no, I'm just playing around. Yes, we'll get into shout outs right now, but really quick before we go any further, because I know he's very humble and he's kind of shy about this. Let me tell you about what the homie Ananda has been doing for the past week. Him and Profe Alex have been putting together the latest Los GATACTICOS video titled Playoff Vanny Ball. Everything you need to know about what the Galaxy are doing in the playoffs tactically, the way they're playing, which players are getting forward, why Vanny is going with Nelson over Aude, what Nelson contributes to the attack, all these kinds of things you will find out in the next Los GATACTICOS video, Playoff Vanny Ball. It's dropping next week, episode 4. We know that you want to show it some love, especially because El Profe Alex RUIZ is on that. And how else are we going to motivate him to get out there and tweet for the masses if we don't support this Los GATACTICOS effort? But like I said, and honestly try to go ahead and plug that up, so I will.
Because all the players read Alex's stuff, right? So yeah, let's do that.
yeah. So Ananda, anything that you can share about the new GATACTICOS video that's coming up? Any insights? Any sneak peeks?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it quite a bit on the show, but just I think just I'm gonna leave it at this. Like the many faces of this team has a lot of different faces. It can play in a lot of different ways, and that's a huge credit to Greg Vanny and sort of the journey that we've been on this year to get us to this point. So you'll see a lot of faces of this team, again, through the tactics boards, through footage. Alex and I will break that down. And then, of course, how we can use that to our advantage, not just in the next round, but hopefully all the way to the MLS Cup Finals.
Yeah, man. La Sexta. May it come sooner rather than later. Chat's talking about Oreo Chata, man, and it's just like throwing me off my game now. I'm just imagining
Chat's
like
wild today.
Yeah, so many good things para el paladar. An Oreo Chata would hit bomb right now. But anyway, guys, let's kick off these announcements here. First and foremost, you know what? Ananda and I we're talking about this just a couple moments before the show started, actually. And it doesn't matter which way or who for, but get out there and do your civic duty and vote. It is also your right to not vote, but this is a very consequential election. So go out there and make your voice heard. Go ahead and vote. That's all I'm going to say on it. Anandita, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I just want to say really quick, condolencias a todos los que son afectados de las inundaciones en Valencia, right, in España. Just a terrible, terrible thing that's happening there. I think, Rob, already 217 muertos, a lot of people still missing, right? A lot of people still trapped. I mean, you can imagine the families that are just in that predicament, right, in that situation. So, I know a lot of... I don't know how many Españoles are listening to this podcast, but I do know a lot of Americans are living in Valencia. A lot of people have retired in Valencia. So if you or family are affected, just nuestras condolencias. And again, it's a terrible, terrible thing that's happening. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, but it's terrible. But in these moments, you see like the best in humanity as well, because despite the devastation and everything that's going on there, el pueblo español se levantado. They've gotten together and they've said, we need to help our brothers and sisters, and they're out there, cleaning, cooking, helping in clinics and stuff like that for their fellow man, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So hopefully, like I said, ese pueblo español con orgullo y tan lindo se levanta pronto. Les mandamos nuestras oraciones y buenos deseos. Man, sorry to bring you guys down a little bit, but now hopefully we're gonna bring you right back up. We're gonna shout out the champions, the world champions, LA Dodgers. Congrats to them. If you weren't living on the moon and you were in Los Angeles last week, then you obviously saw these celebrations go down. They won in Game 5 over the Yankees on October 30th, 7-6, and a come from behind win just when all seemed lost and they were down 5-0. They came from behind to win this game and bring Los Angeles its 8th World Series title. Of course, the parade was on Friday morning. It seems like all of Los Angeles was out there. There are estimates that between 100,000 to 250,000 people were out there at one point. So Los Angeles showed up and showed out. It was a beautiful thing to see. And not only that, I saw this sense of togetherness and just love throughout Los Angeles. Not only on social media, but just like you could feel it in the air. Everyone was happy. Everyone was smiling. I mean, I stepped at the Costco. Everyone was wearing their Dodger gear. Decoy was out there with Ohtani. It's just, these photos show you just like the breadth of like how massive this was. It looks like that's 5th behind us right there, and it's just filled with people. So shout out to the Dodgers and for making Los Angeles proud, for making them happy. You know what? They're already talking about repeats, so go out and get another one, y'all. Happy birthday to Ener Valencia. Y'all know I'm Ecuadorian, so shout out to the captain of La Tri, Ener Valencia. He's the all-time record goal scorer for Ecuador, and I hope he had a beautiful day surrounded by friends and family. Happy birthday as well, Ananda, to your fellow alumnus, AJ De La Garza. The former G played for the Galaxy 204 times. He has 2 supporter shields, 3 MLS Cups in 2011, 2012, 2014, and he was the Galaxy Defensive Player of the Year in 2012, 2014. as well. And we're also talking about the are you a good soccer player and a good man? Well, AJ is MLS Humanitarian of the Year award in 2014, and of course he has his foundation, Luca Knows Heart. Happy birthday to him. I hope he was surrounded by friends and family as well. Guys, if you are so inclined to get out there and do something for your Galaxy and have your voice heard in that way, the Galaxy Fan Council is now taking applications for the 2025 Fan Council year. It'll be the second year in which they run this. Applications are open until November 18th, and after your application, the final Fan Council members will be announced on November 25th via LA Galaxy social media. Of course, I know that we had Christian on last year. He's on the Fan Council. He was telling us a little bit about it. We did speak to Jonathan Malter with the Galaxy, and he told us a little bit about the Fan Council last year. But this year, they're telling you that should you get involved, this is an opportunity for fans to get involved with their favorite club and serve as a voice of the fan base to inform club making decisions. This is open to season ticket members and non-season ticket members, Ananda. So they're going to have 15 new council members this year, plus 2 returning voices from last year. So I don't know, Ananda, maybe you want to apply, maybe you want to get out there and have your voice heard. But of course, they
podcasters too.
No, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I don't want to speak for them, honestly. I was gonna say I'm sure you could, but like I really don't know. We'll get to the bottom of that. What I do know is that Raquinho is definitely my write-in vote. Number one. So of course the Fan Council meets quarterly with Galaxy FO and AG executives, and they give that team feedback on what they think they're doing right and what they think they're doing wrong throughout the season. And people, I saw some chatter about this online as well, and so people were like, well, what did they actually do this year? So according to the press release, the Fan Council this year gave their input on guest experiences and through the game day experience. So they made renovations and included new TV screens throughout excuse me, y'all, throughout Dignity Health Sports Park. And they also added some quiet rooms and sensory rooms for G's that might have children or might have sensitivity to like loud noises and stuff like that. And they're also putting some early input on the CVI Invitational. Did I just say CVI Invitational? So Coachella Valley Invitational squared. Anyway, the CVI. So they'll get some ideas on what fans actually want to see at the CVI, because there's a lot of opportunities there. So guys, if you at all want to get involved or you have any questions, hit up fancouncil@lagalaxy.com, and then you can apply at galaxyfancouncil.com. So there's that info. Go ahead and have your voice heard. And yes, I agree, Marvin. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido, for damn sure. Guys, we have and speaking of El Pueblo has voted on their Galaxy October Player of the Month. Ricky Puig went off. He continues to go off, 4 goals and 3 assists for the little Catalan. I mean, he's just been playing lights out, been playing like a monster. And then, one of his fellow Killer Peas was just honored today, Ananda, and it was awesome to see him get honored by Will Kuntz, who gave him his award in Portuguese. So not only does this cat now speak Spanish and Portuguese, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he speaks like Dothraki and like High Valyrian and like Klingon and stuff like that. Like he's got like, what can Will Kuntz not do, right? But anyway, exactly. Gabriel Peck was honored today as MLS Newcomer of the Year. Nanda, it much deserved. 30 goal contributions on the year. His debut season, 16 goals, 14 assists in 33 matches. Overall, in all comps, in 38 games played, 19 goals and 17 assists. And we spoke about Ricky being the October Player of the Month. Peck had kind of like his own call for maybe being the October Player of the Month. I mean, he's tallied a goal or an assist, 6 and 6 to be exact, in 7 consecutive games played across all comps, dating back to September 18th. He becomes now the 4th youngest player in MLS history to record at least 30 goal contributions in a single season, and the youngest player in a season with 15 goals and 10 assists. Not bad to justify your record signing, which was obviously, we know now, 10 million plus incentives. He becomes the second Galaxy player to win this award behind Zlatan Ibrahimovic in 2018, and he beat out his fellow finalists Luis Suarez and Luca Oriano for the award, and he swept. I mean, it wasn't particularly close. He swept the media player and club votes. I mean, he did his thing, man. I mean, I honestly think that he got snubbed for a nomination for MVP, or I mean, maybe not even the short list, but like on the long form list, he definitely needed to be included. What do you think about this, Ananda? I mean, we spoke at the beginning of the year about, you know, would he come, would he not come? But now that he signed, he was here, he had a lights out first season. Any thoughts about this award?
No, we're just lucky to have him. I mean, you think about the value for money, right? I mean, $10 million, you said it's a record signing. It's not cheap, but I mean, Rob, would you say that we've gotten more value out of that what we paid? I mean, I would argue probably, yeah, right? I mean, he's having an MVP type of season if you look at the numbers and just the impact that he's having on this team. Of course, for us, selfishly, he's won the most defending the badges. So the fans also are recognizing his performances. Right. I mean, he's the guy that, you know, that we turn to at certain points in the season when, you know, maybe the whole team wasn't firing or the defense just wasn't up to snuff in certain games. I mean, he was the guy that broke deadlocks. You always know something's going to happen. Something good is going to happen when he's on the ball. And so he's been amazing value for money. And I go back to when we had Will Kuntz on, one of the proudest things that he said was the ability to turn this fan base on a new idea that we could do this a different way, right? We've been used to sort of the Galacticos model, right? But now we've got people that we haven't necessarily heard. They're not your household name, but yet they're going to show us on the pitch what they're made of. And this is a guy that's done that this year, and him and, you know, the Killer Peas, which we'll talk about later. I mean, we're blessed to have him, man. And let's, like I said, this is a guy that is going to be hot property in a few years. So let's enjoy him while we have him, LA Galaxy fans.
Yeah, I mean, Will Kuntz, when I was doing some research on old interviews and stuff like that, when he just got hired as vice president for the Galaxy, he said that they wanted to bring in players that get away from that model, like you said, and make stars here. And Gabriel Pecci is definitely becoming a star here in MLS. Lucky to have him is correct. When he does get sold, I think there's every possibility that he breaks Miggy Almiron's record outgoing signing for MLS. I think that he's definitely that good that he can go ahead and be up there in 35, maybe like 35 million range.
Funny that you make that comparison too, because very similar player, right? They're both left-footed. They both play on the wing. They both have an engine on them. So yeah, I could totally see that for sure.
Except that Gabriel Pecci is younger, and he hasn't even begin to touch a ceiling yet. So, you know, and that's why I think he's going to break it. But Ananda, in the spirit of celebrating this man, because, you know, I'm not sure if you know, but there is a huge Galaxy group chat on X, created by Built for LA. Shout out Built for LA. And, you know, I dropped in there that there was the news of Pecci, or commented on something about Pecci, and they said, hey, you guys should better show him a lot of love for winning this award. I mean, it's been a long time since a Galaxy player has won any time a significant award. True. And this is a boon for not only Gabriel Pecci, but the organization. And I mean, these kind of things are what breed other players to be like, you know what, they seem like they know what they're doing over there. That's a good point. I may want to look into, you know, that transfer, or hey, agent, what's up with that organization, you know? So in the spirit of celebrating Gabriel Pecci, I went to the great poet known as Chat GPT, and I asked it to go ahead and wax lyrically about Gabriel Pecci's first season here with the Galaxy. And this is what it had to say. Gabriel's season dawns on fields of green, and LA's colors fierce and keen. 33 games, he makes his mark, a fire ignited, a blazing spark. 16 goals, 14 assists, each touch a promise, none missed. Charging down lines fierce and fast, leaving defenders lost and outclassed. One of the killer P's, he storms the field with moves so sharp, defenses yield. The crowd roars loud. His name they cheer. Newcomer of the year, crowned his debut year. For Gabriel Peck, it's more than a game, a Warriors pride, a rising flame. Galaxy's heartbeat, their shining star, lighting up MLS near and far. And every stride, the fans' hope resounds as LA's champion, where legends are crowned. Congratulations, Gabriel Pecky, for a marvelous debut season. Of course, as these players themselves have mentioned on a couple of occasions, all the individual awards they would give up for MLS Cup, simply put. So I'm sure Gabriel Pecky is ecstatic. I'm sure Vasco da Gama, shout out Gustavo and Vasco da Gama, are ecstatic because they're getting a hefty little chunk of change every time Gabriel Pecky performs well and hits these performance metrics. But like you said, Ananda, we're just lucky to have him. He's doing marvelously, and I can't wait to see what kind of heights Gabriel Pecky actually reaches. Congratulations, newcomer of the year. Moving along here, 1-2. I mean, if you guys were lucky enough to get the Al Cien package, the bobblehead on the t-shirt, then you guys should have already gotten that because all pre-orders have been sent out, or it's very close to being to you. This was put on 1-2 Threads of socials. There's a few extra bundles left. If you didn't get one yet, the link is in their bio and their social. On their Instagram, that is. So go ahead and check out the link in their bio on the Insta and see if you can snag one of these Al Cien packages, the bobblehead on the t-shirt. Ananda, it's playoff time, and we need to look at what all the rivals are doing, what everybody else is doing. Was there anything that jumped out to you immediately, or do you just want to go ahead and get into the roundup?
I mean, let's get into it because there was a more than one, right? There was a lot actually, not just in our side of the bracket, not just in our conference, but in the whole entire league. So let's just jump headfirst into it, man.
Ananda, I don't know if you saw, but the chat is getting adult. Marvin G apparently is starting to take off clothing. Órale, guapo. Go ahead and make sure que tú y tu señora le sacan provecho. Right on. And then GCam says that Pecky is going to Atletico Madrid, calling it right now. Let's see if he is a brujo and he's calling it. Let's see what the future holds. But yeah, let's get into this MLS Cup playoff roundup. Seattle, they eliminated Houston after beating them twice in penalties, 5-4 and 7-6 respectively, to advance. Kind of hard to win games, Ananda, when your important players get sent off. In game one, it was Coco Garcia for Houston. In game two, it was one of their most experienced players, Hector Herrera, who had a moment of madness, lost his head like crazy. You don't expect this from a veteran that played all over Europe and in the Champions League. Has a moment of madness and spits at the referee for giving him a yellow. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's got to be a red. I mean, I'm all for chewing the refs out when they get it wrong, but there's got to be a line and there's got to be respect. So yeah, he gets the red. He gets sent off, and Houston misses one of their most important players for the rest of the match. They go on to lose. Their season is over. Hector Herrera has since apologized, but yeah,
good riddance.
It's tough to take if you're a Houston Dynamo fan because again, you have two of your most important players sent off in successive matches. So now Seattle.
But we're used to silly red cards from last season, right, Robert?
This is why I sympathize, because I immediately
we've been there. We've been down that dark road.
Yeah, no. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, they're trying to outdo Doug, bro. Like, come on. But anyway, yeah, no. Now Seattle awaits the winner of LAFC versus Vancouver, and yes, chat Galaxy fans, we will get to that LAFC versus Vancouver match. I'm sure you have much to say on it. Another coach of the year is out after the Galaxy also eliminated Chris Armas in his Colorado Rapids, and now it's Wilfred Nancy. He and his Columbus Crew team suffered a 1-0 home loss in the opening game of that series. Felipe Carballo scored the only goal in that one. So they were facing the wall in game two. And you know what? It didn't look like it was going to happen for them. This one ended 2-2 in regulation, but it required a Christian Ramirez goal in the 96th minute to make penalties happen. And even in penalties, Columbus had a chance to win it, Ananda. I don't know if you saw this match, but even in penalties, they had a chance to win this one, and they just couldn't get it done. Just we've talked a lot about mentality this year. It's strange to see the champions not be able to hold their heads and keep their heads rather, and see out this penalty shootout, or at least one of these matches, at least that home match. GCam, I love that. Herrera Haktua, yes, well done. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it makes for the champions being eliminated. Carlos Coronel was the hero for New York Red Bulls, as he made 3 stops in the penalty win. I mean, again, it's just, you don't expect the champions to miss 3 times in a penalty shootout. But Ananda, one of the pictures that you and I both loved was this graphic by the yeah. Oh, it's not this one, but I found this one interesting. If I don't win, I want to die. Cucho, I'm sorry to tell you, Papa.
Bad choice of words.
Yeah, I mean, just Papa. Anyway, so
speaking of the graphic,
speaking of the graphic, the Portuguese Hammer, you know him, you love him. He put out this graphic here. So now you have 2 of your 3 MLS Cup coach of the year candidates being eliminated from the playoffs, and the third is on the brink, as Tata Martino and his Inter Miami team will be facing a game 3. They lost game 2 to Atlanta United away 2-1 on Saturday, November 2nd, after a screamer of a golazo in injury time. I mean, and Ben Stadium went off and on. I mean, they kept playing at the end of the game because they couldn't hear the final whistle from the referee. So I mean, they were just going nuts. And why wouldn't they? They just took down Messi and co. And now they force a game 3. And I mean, it adds to their Cinderella story. I mean, they entered decision day on 12th place. They needed to win a couple times to even be mathematically possible for the playoffs. They got into the playoffs. They won the wild card. I mean, sorry, they won the play-in, and then they went. Yep. I mean, they're just going from strength to strength, and now they have a chance to knock off the Supporter Shield winners and number 1 seed in the East in game 3. It's going to be a tall order, but I mean, they played pretty well. I mean, they weren't outclassed for large parts of this match. So of course, when we speak about that class, I mean, these players like Jordi Alba and Busquets and stuff like that, like, they obviously are going to make a difference. They made a difference in game 1, but in game 2, it was David Martinez who scored for Miami on 40 minutes. Former G. Derek Williams tied it up in the 58 with a header that he basically cannoned off the turf and into goal. And then, like I mentioned, in injury time, Jean de Silva with the golazo, breaking Miami hearts in the 94th minute in front of those 70,000 fans that went absolutely nuts. Game 3 is next Saturday, November 9th at 5 p.m. Pacific. And let's see if all 3 Coach of the Year candidates get eliminated. Obviously, those teams have not been taking care of business. And then, speaking of not taking care of business, it looks like number 1 in the West couldn't take care of business either, as Vancouver has taken LAFC to a 3rd game after a dominant 3-0 home win by Vanni Sartini and his boys. Vanni Sartini, always entertaining. You always love to see the energy, and he was hype after his team took down LAFC. Finally, they had lost the last 5 in all competitions to LAFC. And so after a 2-1 loss in game 1, they had nothing to lose, and they went out there and took it to them. They were ahead 2-0 within 13 minutes. And then it also doesn't help when you give up 2 own goals. LAFC gave up 2 own goals in this one, making it very, very hard for them to crawl back into this match. And now game 3 will be on Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific at BMO here in Los Angeles. Other game 3 is happening in the playoffs. Cincinnati versus NYCFC on Saturday, November 9th at 1 p.m. Orlando faces off against Charlotte on Saturday, November 9th at 3 p.m. Of course, Charlotte made history. They hosted their first playoff match ever in Charlotte. And They won 3-1 on penalties. Goalkeeper Christian Kalina was a hero with 2 PK saves in the shootout. And of course, now we get to the Galaxy's opponent in the next round. Minnesota United outlasted RSL over 2 legs. They beat RSL twice in penalties. The first leg was scoreless. Dane St. Clair came up the hero as Minnesota United won 5-4. He becomes a hero again in the second leg, as this one ends in regulation 1-1. Goals by Joseph Rosales and Amika Eneli canceled each other out and sent this one to penalties. And like I said, St. Clair is just feeling himself. I mean, RSL misses 3 in this one. So 2 really, really potent offensive teams in the regular season go on to miss 3 times in the penalty shootout and get knocked out. And this time they did not get up again. Chumbawamba.
Yeah,
so
two of the front runners in the middle towards the end of the season, right? RSL and Colorado, we thought they were going to be, pretty legit contenders in the West. Already bounced out in the first round. I mean, it's crazy, Rob. And if you look at, I know you're going to move to sort of the larger playoff picture, but I'm going to flash it up on the screen here. But they were talking about amongst the Apple TV commentators and the pundits. I mean, is this a year of the upsets? Right? It's looking so far. I mean, we can't really decisively say until the game 3s are played this week, but I mean, man, what an advert for the people that are saying, that there is parity in MLS, right? I mean, look, it's coming to fruition, at least in some respect or in some level.
No, yeah, definitely. People that have criticisms of MLS and the playoffs certainly have their reasons to talk about that. I mean, just the layoff, the 22 days that the Galaxy are facing is one of them.
Yeah.
But the drama that has gone on so far has been really fun to watch. And you're right. It lends itself to the parity of teams in MLS. I mean, you don't really have that between the top 6 and the rest of the league in England. You don't really have that between the top 4 and the rest of the league in La Liga. In France, there's really only like 3 or 4 clubs that could realistically win the league every year. In Germany, it's basically Leverkusen, Dortmund, or Bayern Munich every year. So, I mean, right now you see the defending champions just got knocked out. You saw one of the front runners for the Western Conference title get knocked out. Playoffs have been kind of entertaining so far, Ananda. What have you learned from round 1 so far?
About the Galaxy, or just about in the league?
In general.
League-wide? Yeah, well,
League-wide.
That's what I'm saying. I think the parity conversation is really interesting, right? And like I said, this is a good advert for just creating that parity in the league and how teams utilize roster spots, how teams utilize DP spots, also how teams are starting to become like images of their coach or representations of who they are as organizations, right? Charlotte under Dean Smith, that's a Dean Smith team, man. That's a Dean Smith all the way, right? So you've got good examples like that. Red Bulls, I saw someone put in the chat earlier, the Klopp effect with the Red Bulls, but they have that sort of model that's pretty consistent throughout all the organizations, even in Europe, right? So I think it's really interesting, man. And like you said, it's been a good watch as a fan. It's been a really fun watch. As a neutral, especially watching that Columbus game, watching LAFC, watching even that Minnesota game. So it's been fun, man. It's been a really fun playoff so far.
Yeah, and game 3s are going to be a watch. There's a lot of, I mean, just let's face it, a lot of this cataclysmic, newsworthy things that could happen for these game 3s. Of course, if Inter Miami gets knocked out, I mean, everyone says that Don Garber is going to be crying because his preferred team is going to get knocked out. I don't know that that's true or not. I'm certainly in the camp that the most entertaining final would be best for the league. I don't know exactly who that is, but it seems like it would be Inter Miami versus the LA Galaxy. So hopefully, that one comes off to happen. First game of the year for the Galaxy, could be their last game of the year as well. But before they get there, they need to handle business in the rest of the playoffs. And then they took care of business in round 1. So let's go ahead and get to this match summary, Ananda. Continuing your left off in game 1, the LA Galaxy earned a 4-1 win against the Colorado Rapids. in Colorado at Dick's Sporting Goods Park on Friday, November 1st. The Killer Peas, Joseph Painso, Gabriel Pecky, and Ricky Puig each scored goals, with the Prince, who was promised Ricky Puig, scoring a brace as LA eliminated Colorado in a clean sweep to make the Western Conference semifinal for the first time since 2022. With the Killer Peas all scoring in this win over the Rapids, it marked the 4th time this season that they all have scored in a single match. That's LA versus San Jose, LA versus Portland, LA versus Vancouver, and LA at Colorado just the other day. It was Gabriel Pecky who got things started off with a lucky bounce, and really, we talk about this pressure, and it starts with that hustling after every ball, pressuring and doing what you need to do, and this is what Greg Vanny has talked about on a couple of occasions, that when Gabriel Pecky got here, he was a player that would hug the touchline and kind of just wait for the ball to come to him, and then he would try to take players on one by one. And it's really gratifying to see him getting back into pressure Zach Steffen and making a goal out of nothing. Of course, this one happened pretty early in the match. I believe it happened on 7 or 8 minutes, but it served to settle down the Galaxy. 10 minutes later, however, Ollie Larraz hit a laser off an Emilio Garcia's clearance, headed clearance that doesn't make it all the way out, and Ollie Larraz hits a laser to give Colorado some hope and a 1-1 scoreline. But finally, Joseph Painsil, JP, the unbreakable one, he breaks his duck, and he gets a lucky bounce off his curling effort after he was giving too much space to unleash a beautiful whipped shot and put the Galaxy ahead 2-1 just before the half. And it was great to see this happen for him. Of course, y'all remember against Houston, he had a goal called back. He was very, very upset about it, and he's kind of been looking to break that duck since then. He finally makes it happen. The Galaxy managed to make it to injury time, up 2-1, and took it pretty much the rest of the game 2-1. They were very, very professional and being able to see and manage this match out. But just when you thought, it was all over, Ricky Puig showed a little bit of ruthlessness, a little bit of that killer instinct that the Killer Peas are starting to get known for, and he lets loose with 2 goals in injury time. Not 1, but 2 in stoppage time, Ananda. The first came off a sweeping transition play, the second off a lethal counterattack that the midfielder took for most of the field. He kept us cooled around Zach Steffen to complete his brace and put the stamp on a dominant 4-1 win. He is now one of 2 players to open the playoffs with 2 consecutive 2-goal performances. Of course, the win means that the Galaxy swept Colorado and that they will host Minnesota United on either November 23rd or November 24th. Now, Ananda, I will ask you, what did you learn about the Galaxy in round 1?
And this is something, again, like I said on top of the show, we're gonna talk about this in Los GATACTICOS, guys. But I made a comment about this, I think, when we had Alex and Mike on. So shout out to the Trafico radio boys. But I said that whatever game plan Armis throws at us, we have a counter for, right? And this is what I learned about this team in round 1 tactically now, because I think I'm gonna leave sort of the mentality, the killer part, sort of that killer instinct. I think that's where you're probably gonna go. So I'm gonna leave that to you. But tactically now, Robert, we are a complete team. I mean, this is a damn good team. We can play in many different ways, right? We can play in possession. We can break high presses. We can break mid to low blocks. We can play on the counter if we need to, a ball over the top. And this is now in a playoff situation where you're going to face a lot of different oppositions. Tactically, this team is really, really developed. And again, shout out mad props to Greg Vanny and the coaching team, and really all the experiences that this team has had to, like I said, get us developed to this point. So that's the biggest thing that I learned from this team. Now, I am going to say that with a grain of salt because, and we'll talk a little bit too about as we recap the game, but Colorado did not put their best foot forward. Of course, they were injured. They were pretty banged up. But like you always say, you got to beat what's in front of you, right? And what I saw was a complete demolition. 4-1's a little bit flattering. It's probably more like a 2-1 game, right? And of course, we broke it open as they were sending a number forward and rushing forward. But you only can beat what's in front of you. And man, this team just showed me a lot tactically through these last couple of games. So really, really well done by Vanny and the team.
Yeah, not much to speak of on the starting lineup front. And on a Galaxy sends out their same starting 11 as Game 1 that won 5-0. I mean, if it don't broke, don't fix it. And so they didn't, and they benefited hugely on this one. That 4-1 win now gives them a 9-2-0 record in the playoffs all time versus Colorado. In 2 matches played across in the first round, they outscored Colorado 9-1, Ananda. So just an offensive juggernaut this Galaxy team is becoming, or has been really all year, but they're turning it on right at the right time. And we'll get more into that a little bit later. In 4 meetings between these teams now, the Galaxy were undefeated 4-0-0. We spoke about the Killer Peas already, but let's show them a little bit more love. Paintsil had 2 goals and 2 assists. Peck 2 goals, 6 assists, and Pooch had 7 goals and 1 assist, combining for 20 goal contributions in 4 matches played across all competitions against Colorado this year. So these 3 gentlemen just absolutely destroyed Colorado. Just took it to them this year, and 20 MLS matches played together in the starting lineup. Peck has recorded 12 goals and 10 assists. Paintsil has 7 and 9, and Ricky Pooch has registered 11 goals and 14 assists. Ricky Pooch, 34 goal contributions in all competitions. Joseph Paintsil, who recorded the game-winning goal, again, broke his duck against the Rapids in Game 2, has 12 and 10 in 34 matches. So we were talking at the start of the year, would these new signings do the business? Would they handle what they needed to do? Would they even be on the field? And I think the answer to that question is a resounding yes. The stats do not lie, Ananda. So now through 39 matches, there is no more table. We're in the playoffs, but now through 39 matches, if you're keeping track of this kind of things, 22, 9, and 8 for the Galaxy, 83 goals for, 57 goals against. Remember, they gave up 67 goals last year, just in the regular season. So they've given up 10 less goals, and they're in the playoffs at this point. And 79 all-time playoff matches, they have a 48, 20, and 12 record. Greg Vanney improves to 13, 6, and 2, and 21 MLS Cup matches. Like you said, I mean, shout out to him and his team for having this team find ways to win. So when I say give him his flowers, I've been saying it all year. I think it's getting to the point where if there are people out there that are saying Greg Vanney ain't it, I don't know how much longer they can keep saying it, especially if he wins the Galaxy their 6th MLS Cup. But Ananda, I'm sure you have some numbers that will tell us the data story on this one.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna go back real quick before I get to the box score. I mean, was that what you learned from this team in round 1, Robert, or was there something else that you saw from this team in round 1? Sort of like the question you asked me that you liked. Was it Vanney, or was it something else that you saw?
No, it was just that efficiency and just professionalism to take care of business. I mean, Greg said it at even before Game 1, execute, and they did. Simply put, like it's no lofty words, no flowery adjectives. I mean, execute, they did. They took care of business. And that's at heart why Kobe was sitting there all mad. And when they asked him, Kobe, are you not happy? You're up 2-0. He's like, job's not done.
Right.
You know, and this team went out there like they know the job's not done. They took care of business in Game 1 and Game 2. And now they hopefully will take care of business against Minnesota. But yeah, that's really what I learned from this team in round 1. I knew that it was going to be okay when I went out to training the other day, and they looked so loose and relaxed and happy and confident. I knew that they were in a good way.
Nice. Sorry, I'm just smiling because you guys are so funny in chat, man. Anyways, moving on. Let me get to the
I love Los Cuneros. Yeah, let's hope the end does not fall off, Marvin.
Yeah. So let's get to the box score, guys. But yeah, I mean, you know, the stats, because you guys know that I love stats. It backs up basically everything that we've talked about, which is pretty much a complete dominant LA Galaxy performance. Of course, a little bit different in that, we didn't give up, 1 shot in total last time. I mean, Colorado had spells of good play, right? They just couldn't break us down to the point where they had high quality chances. And that shows up And sort of the key stat that I pulled out of this, which is we had 3 big chances, Rob, and we limited them to 0. Remember, the goal that they scored was a outside the foot laser, I think was the word that you used to describe it. I mean, it was a very, very nice shot. Granted, we didn't get out to it quickly enough, but honestly, on that play, I don't really blame the defenders as much. I think it was just the way the midfield was positioned. There was too big of a gap, and there was nobody else there. You know, in football and soccer, second balls, or whoever goes to the second ball is always an important sort of feature in how well organized you are. And unfortunately, on that play, we just were not. Like we were second to react to that play, but still a low percentage shot, right? But again, outside the box, and quality players will do certain things. So that's how that goal came in. But again, other than that, I mean, we limited them to no big chances, Rob. Only 8 total shots to our 13, 9 shots on target versus their 4. And here's another stat that I love. We had 3 big chances and we converted all 3 of them. And that goes to your part or your point, Robert, about execution, right? And we've seen that be up and down this year, I think, from the stats perspective, like how clinical are we? How efficient are we in the final third when we have those big chances? So that was really, really nice to see. That shows me that this team's confidence is at a certain level now where we can sort of kill off those chances. I've really felt that way, Rob, honestly, ever since the 4-2, ever since I felt that we talked about it at that point too. I felt that was a turning point in the season in terms of what potential, the belief that this team had, right? And ever since then, I think we've become more clinical as a team, minus a few bits and bobs here and there, like the Houston game, for example. So that's really nice to see. That's encouraging going to the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I feel like we've shown the Killer Peas a lot of love already today, but just to go ahead and put a bow on them, here they are looking fly, doing their thing right here.
Love that.
This is a great picture. I mean, this team wins a title, this will be one of the defining pictures of this year for damn sure. But the Killer Peas is basically, if we're talking about execution, they showed up. They're making the big money, and they know that, and they showed up when they needed to. All 3 scored in this match. They became the focal points for their team when they needed to, and they put the team on their shoulders. And it was really gratifying to see Joseph Paintsell take his goal. I gotta say about Paintsell, he was brought in as this player that gets in behind, that will beat people on the touchline and stuff like that. Kind of similarly like Gabriel Pecci, but this is where you see teams start to play for each other. Gabriel Pecci did a lot of defensive work. Joseph Paintsell did a lot of defensive work in this match, Ananda. He and John Nelson were very close at points, and it's one thing to say, hey, I'm gonna play a little defense, but it's another thing to say I'm basically going to be playing as a wing back and not as a winger and contribute to this defensive effort. And this is how teams win titles, when people aren't seeking those individual accolades or goals and contributing to the small things like the defensive effort. And speaking of the defense, Ananda, this is one of the things that has been criticized heavily all year for the Galaxy, but the facts don't lie, Ananda. They did what they needed to do in the first round here. Only 5 shots on goal from Colorado over both legs. No big chances given up, as you pointed out just a couple moments ago. A 0.0 x3 xG in game 1, 0.44 xG in game 2, with a 0.73 combined over 180 plus minutes. Bigly is no set piece goals conceded over the 2 legs. I feel like, again, we spoke tremendously about the Killer Peas, but one person that we haven't spoken about is your boy that you've been living on all year, Edwin Cedillo. He was huge in protecting this back 4, being composed, being assured. In the first leg, Spanish TV, Spanish Apple, I believe it was Cello actually, called him perhaps, or Cholo's co-commentator called him, Cedillo that is, perhaps one of the 5 best center defensive midfielders in the league. Cholo did not commit to that, but I believe he said that he's definitely on his way. McCarthy was largely a bystander in this one, so we don't have a lot to share on him. But when he needed to be around, he was. I'm expecting him to be called into service a little bit more against Minnesota.
I will say though, Rob, the defense did great this series, but we will face tougher tests going into the later rounds. So that's when you're going to really see what this defense is made of, right? You're going to be thrown different things. Like, for example, if you face a team like an LAFC or Minnesota's going to give us problems, man. I saw the way they played the other day, and man, that is one team that may cause us some problems. Of course, we'll have previews and stuff. We've got a 3-week break, so we've got a long time to dissect it and analyze it and think about it as we head into the preview. But they're going to give us a slightly different set of issues than Colorado did. So I think this is a great start. I think this is a definitive start. But let's kind of let's be balanced about this. Let's not go way over the top. We are going to face tougher tests, and especially after a 3-week layoff, right? So that doesn't help.
Definitely. Well, in those 3 weeks, we can get these soccer teams that chat is talking about off the ground. I personally will probably, I was telling Ananda pre-show guys that my back was killing me because Saturday as you guys all know, Ananda and I play pickup on Saturday, and man, I think just la papa. Ya me estoy poniendo viejo. So I think maybe I need to start on Los Osos and Malas Noticias instead of Los Cuneros, and then if I make the first team, great. If not, I'm great on Los Osos and Malas Noticias. But anyway, we were talking about just the concept of execution and taking care of business, right? And the Galaxy did, but we saw that a bunch of teams did not. LAFC did not. Miami did not. Columbus did not. Columbus paid the iron price, and now they're eliminated, man. I mean, the reigning champions got taken down. So after a round one where the Galaxy hung up a 9-1 on aggregate, they only gave up 1 goal, gave up 5 shots. They were able to deal with formation changes by Colorado. They showed ruthlessness. They showed great mentality, and became the first team to reach the conference semifinals. Ananda, are they now the best team left in the MLS Cup playoffs?
Chat, why don't you guys sound off on this too? Because I definitely want to have a conversation about this. I think this is interesting because on paper, I don't think logically you can't say no, right? You have to say that. I think on paper, 9-1. Now, granted, like I said, I think the 4-1 probably flattered us a little bit. It was probably more, even if you take those 2 goals in injury time away, 7-1 over 2 legs. Granted, a banged up Georgi Mihailovic, no Cole Bassett. I get it. But we took care of business, and we emphatically took care of business. Like, if we had advanced maybe 2 tight games, maybe like a 2-1 and a 1-0 or something like that, you could say, okay, we did our job, but it wasn't emphatic. I think it was the way we did this emphatically, both offensively and, like you just lauded just a second ago, defensively, right? That's where I think we really, really made up sort of a lot of that dominance, right? Because we can put up on. We've seen it all season. Like we can hang 4 or 5 goals up on anyone, but it's the defense that sort of usually keeps us even keel as fans and kind of brings us down to earth, right? So, but yeah, I think there's a really good argument to say they are the best team in the MLS playoffs right now, heading into the next round.
Well, we do have some people signing off here in chat. Don Marvin says, if not the best, the most enjoyable to watch. No other team played as beautiful as the Galaxy did, at least this weekend. Shout out to you and tu conejito el bunny rabbit. Leo says, on paper and the pitch, yes, we are the best team, but we are also our own worst enemy. Damn it if we don't know that. I'm still worried their inconsistency will rear its ugly head. Yes, they just need to not beat themselves. We've said it all year. GCam says, I'm going to say no, but we are definitely the team with the best chemistry. Ralchi says, yeah, with all cylinders firing, we are the best. I've seen it all season 2. We should have won Miami at home and beat Levas too. So,
what about you, man?
Oh, I'm going first, like I usually do.
No. The best team. This question.
No, I know that I'm just joshing you.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, Chad's gonna get at me. Galaxy fans don't cancel me, but I mean, obviously, LAFC is a talented team, right? So on paper, they got to be considered just as talented, even though they haven't shown it. You know, they
haven't been great.
They haven't been great, and they haven't shown it. But and they have the players as such that they can have a moment of magic and make something happen. I mean, Bouanga could do something out of nothing. Bogusz could do something out of nothing. Giroud has his pedigree and his quality. Even Carlos Vela, who has probably not even played 20 minutes, can come off, swing his left foot, and probably produce a goal out of nothing if you know you give him enough time. So I mean, there are teams that are as talented as the Galaxy. Are they the best on form? I believe so. Yes, they're playing their best soccer of their year right now.
That's what I was going to say.
The belief is there. The players feel good. They're smiling. Here's the thing: as much as they get at each other when they miss a pass or don't score during a game and they're upset with each other, Ananda, you see them when they score genuinely show that emotion, that elation for each other. When they set each other up, they point at each other and they acknowledge each other, like, and it's genuine. So
but I like that sort of confrontation. I like that. You know what that is, Robert? That's holding each other accountable. And on a championship team, you need a level of that, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, even like, you know, in the championship teams of the past, like Bruce has always held the players up to a standard. You know, I always bring up that quote that AJ De La Garza talks about with like winning duels, right? And everyone holding each other accountable. I like that, right? As long as it's not toxic and you're winning on top of that, that's a good recipe for success right there. So I like that because
accountability.
Because it's like if you're yelling at someone, it's because they're not up to the standard. They're not up to the level, right? And I think those habits, I mean, as long as it's carried out in the right way, and everyone's working towards the same goal, I think that's a good characteristic to have in a team.
Yeah, again, you said it, a standard, a championship culture, a winning culture, a culture that is set to standards. The Galaxy used to have that. They're trying to reestablish that again. I would say that they're damn near there through Will Kuntz and co. And Greg Vanney and his coaching team. You know, is it going to be there this year? Who knows? I think in a couple of weeks we'll be able to answer more definitively, because like you said, winning is what did you say a moment ago? Like winning proves that, or something along those lines. Yeah, no, that's what it is, man. It's like,
all I was gonna say is
winning cures all ills, right? So
yeah, definitely, and of course, in the words of a great man that we had on recently, you know, we were the first to 5 and we want to be the first to 5 more, and that's the standard.
Sheesh, que más pues. Doing it in I want to hear him say that in Portuguese, Spanish, and English, and then I'll die a happy man. But we all talk about moments of the match, moments that swung these games, and I really think it's this JP goal, dying.
Agreed.
The first half is dying here, and just a moment of mental lapse from Colorado. They just step off of JP, and you can't give him that space. He winds up, he scores the goal, gets himself back on the score sheet, and gives the Galaxy the lead heading into the half, where, you know, they're in the driver's seat at that point. So no surprise to see them go on and win. We do have defending the badge candidates for y'all. Ricky Puig, unsurprisingly, is one of them. He is also your winner for the week. He had a goal. Sorry about that. He had 2 goals, 2 chances created, 2 block shots, 14 passes in the final third, 2 recoveries, 4 duels won. Gabriel Pecky was one of your candidates as well. Goal and assist, 4 chances created, 5 recoveries, 6 duels won, and 3 fouls won as well. Joseph Paint, so we've spoken about as well. He had a goal, 2 chances created, 1 clearance, 3 recoveries, 2 duels won, and Maya Yoshida had an assist, chance created, since passes into the final third, 1 block, 3 clearances, 1 interception, 2 recoveries, and 2 duels won. Ananda, I know I revealed the big reveal already and let you guys know that Ricky Puig had won his 4th defending the badge for the year. But curious to see if you agree with that one. See if you agree with the people.
Yeah, this is a tough one because Ricky won the last one. You know my rule about like having to snatch it away. But you know what? I'm going to make an exception, man. And I think it's because I want him to succeed and I want him to do well. And I feel like this is a turning point moment for him. But I'm going to give it to JP, man. I'm going to give it to JP
You
because
got him, JP.
exactly. Because I felt like that goal, that's a huge, huge goal for him. And you know, to come into this playoffs with, even just within this podcast, right? We've talked about sort of, will JP sort of be firing on all cylinders when we hit the playoffs because we need him, right? I think, you know, we always talk about against teams like, well, Columbus are out now, but teams like Inter Miami, teams like LAFC, the fine margins are very, very razor thin amongst the two teams, right? But if you have a fit and firing JP now added to the level that you're already at, now that gives teams headaches because we're not going to attack 44% on the right-hand side of Gabriel Peck. You've got to deal with the weak side now. You got to deal with JP and the threat in and behind. So if he is now confident in front of goal, look out, right? Because there's no stopping this team, like I said. So I think for that and just the momentum shift that this is going to bring to him, but also just for him to persevere. Remember, Rob, he could have had 2 goals. He had a very, very similar shot, just curled just outside the post. I believe that was in the second half. I mean, he had a few chances. He looks really, really confident and a confident JP, what we had in the beginning of the season when, Will talked about on this pod about how the first time JP was streaking down that right-hand side, everyone was oohing and eyeing. If we have that JP back, look out, man. It's going to be lights out. So, yeah, I'm going to give my defending the badge to JP. I thought it was a huge goal for him.
Man, you almost swayed me. You almost swayed me. I got to give it to Ricky Puig, man, because he obviously scored his goals, but the ball flows through him. You know, we've spoken about Gabriel Pecky, you know, taking the team on his shoulders and scoring goals when he's been needed, but this ball is flowing through Ricky. Everything goes through him. He's the orchestrator, the conductor, the prince who was promised, and that's why the folk picked him as defending the badge winner. And I can't go against the folk. I got to pick him as well.
The celebration to boot for the cherry on top. So there you
go. Look at that. I mean, my wife is actually really taking to making fun of him for celebrations in a good natured way, not like in a mean way. But she's like, man, el Ricky tiene más celebraciones que pantalones, or you know, like he just every time he scores, it's a new celebration. But then again, you got to score to celebrate. So I mean, I will put up with, well, not even put up with. I will sit there and wonder what his next celebration is going to be, because that just means that he is scoring. So good on him. Ananda, anything else that you want to add from round 1 before we tell the folk what's coming up and we get on out of here?
Yeah, tell the folk what's coming up and getting on out of here. Like I said, we are on a 3-week break, but we've got some stuff planned for you guys, and Rob will kind of take you through that. But for sure, GATACTICOS, check it out next week, guys. We are going to record that this week and put it out next week for you. And yeah, and of course, for the latest sort of programming announcements and episode announcements, just stay tuned. Twitter's probably, or X is probably going to be the best sort of information there. So go ahead and keep it locked with us, guys. And thank you.
Yeah, Ananda, we did have a question from Grace Contreras. Thoughts on the potential red cards during the LAFC game? A bit biased from the refs. I'm not sure if you saw this, Ananda, but Grace, I got to be honest, I didn't see this part of that match.
Yeah,
I probably missed about 25 minutes all told of that match. So I'm gonna have to go back and check that one out. I would hate for y'all to be like, this cat just talks out of his booty. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you and let you know that.
I think one of them was Segura. I do remember that now. I mean, yeah, it was pretty close, man. It was pretty close to red. I believe one of them was the Vancouver player was streaking down sort of, and maybe he was the last man. I didn't catch the replay of it or anything, but I know that was one of them. And yeah,
I think I did see something like that.
Yeah,
and it was called a yellow instead of a red, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I
think that was Segura. Yeah.
I did see it. I don't think he was the last man. I think he was. I think there was like two other players like trailing him or like like alongside him or something like that. So I think that's why they give the yellow instead of the red. But
yeah,
to be honest, we know that the refs have not been the best or up to par this year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say too, and that's one of the things, right? That's one of the wild cards that you can't really control is sort of how the ref's gonna blow the whistle in some of these. So that's why we've got to try to eliminate factors that we can't control and just focus on what we can control, which is our play and how we face our opponent.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta, Ananda, you said a bunch of times, you gotta beat what's in front of you. Sometimes that means bad officiating, and you just gotta get on with it and play. Is it a certainty that the Galaxy will face some bad officiating? No. Is it probable? Yes. So we just gotta live with it and deal with it.
Pretty damn close to a certainty, though. I'll tell you that much.
Pretty damn close.
Way this year's going, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But Ananda mentioned that I was hard at work on some stuff. I can confirm I am hard at work on some stuff. We are pleased to bring back to you guys on Thursday Christian Miles of Fox fame, and he was with us earlier in the year, and he gave us some very, very early Galaxy predictions. So we're going to be hooking back up with them and seeing if those predictions actually came true, and kind of bringing out receipts on ourselves and seeing what past us had to say about this Galaxy team, what would have been then in the future. Now I'm talking about the multiverse stuff again, like past us, future us, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, on the 7th, we'll have someone for you, Christian Miles. And on the 11th, we are working on a special guest as well as the 14th for you. And the 14th, this is one of the ones that Ananda, I've been working on for a while. And mind you, last time I had been working on one for a while. It was Will Kuntz. So I really, really want to tell the folk who it is, but you know me, unless it's locked up 100%, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But you guys will love it. I know this for darn sure. So hopefully you guys stick around for Christian Miles on the 7th, our special guest on the 11th, and our special guest on the 14th. But what else is coming up in Galaxy Landa? The Galaxy has an extended period off from the date they won Game 2, November 1st. It would be 22 or 23 days to be exact till the next time they play. They'll face off against Minnesota United in the MLS Cup Playoff Western Conference semifinal, either the 23rd or the 24th. Ananda, FOTMob has some information up about this game already. I'm virtually certain it's incorrect, but I did want to go ahead and report it just in case. FOTMob is saying that this game is happening on November 23rd at 1 p.m. Again, this has neither been confirmed or announced by MLS or Apple, but FOTMob is announcing this one as November 23rd at 1 p.m. In the lead up to this match, since there is such a big layoff, Greg Vanny did say that they might schedule a friendly to stay sharp and fit. Ananda, I honestly don't see that one happening as we think of like a traditional friendly, maybe a glorified kick around, if anything. I mean, this is a business end of the season. You don't want any of these players getting injured,
probably in their team or with Galaxy 2 or something like that. Nothing from the outside, I don't think.
Nothing Johnny Hustle where somebody's going to try to come and make a name for themselves. But this team does need to stay fit because they do have a long layoff. Fortunately, Minnesota United will be facing the same layoff because they were able to defeat RSL in 2 games as well. So both these teams will be facing a 22 or 23 day layoff. So no one has an advantage here. The last time these teams locked horns, it was a Galaxy win 2-1 on July 7th. Before that, the teams tied at 1-1 in May in Minnesota. But Ananda, I want to take you back to last year. I want to take you back to the desperation and the hopelessness that Galaxy fans felt in the business end of the season as we were sitting there coming up with all the math and the permutations and how the Galaxy could get into the playoffs. And then they faced their, I believe, third to last match against Minnesota, and they needed to come out and get a win, and Minnesota absolutely destroyed the Galaxy 5-2. It was probably the lowest I saw Greg last year in a post-match presser. He was absolutely just shaken, and he looked like he looked like he was hurting, not because he had failed, but because he had failed the fans. Like I said, I think that was the Galaxy's lowest point last year. So for me, this is a point of revenge for the Galaxy now. Last year, Minnesota United knocked the Galaxy out of playoff contention 5-2, broke Galaxy fan hearts. This year, Galaxy can go ahead and return the favor and knock them out of the Western Conference semifinal. It's going to be tough. You said they present their own problems. They've only conceded 2 goals in the last 7 matches. So this one, it looks like it'll be the battle of Minnesota's defense versus the Galaxy's offense. But we will bring you all of that in the preview in a couple of weeks. Again, we'll have C Miles on November 7th and a couple special guests on next week on the 11th and the 14th. Ananda, anything else to add before we get out of here?
Nope. Just thank you again. Muchas gracias a todos. Everyone in chat, you guys were awesome per usual, and especially talking amongst yourselves. You guys are wild. Love you all for it. And remember, guys, tomorrow's election day, so go vote. And we'll see you back here on Thursday.
May the spirit of Raquinho touch all your hearts. We love y'all. Thank you so much for being in the chat. If you're here, it's because you found us on youtube.com/@LacunaGalaxiana. Thank you. Te amamos por hacerlo. Gracias por estar con nosotros. And until we meet again, Galaxy taking care of business, executing, have a long layoff, but we will be with you throughout the period. So until we see each other again on Thursday with C Miles, one thing left to say. G's up. Tú y yo.